All right, with this lesson 2.5, when we see stuff like this, okay, we can make it smaller. It's called simplifying, and we're going to combine like terms, which means things that look alike go together. So this is a 3x, this is a negative 6x. I can add those two together, and 3 plus negative 6 is negative 3x, and that's legal. That's how many x's I have. And then I can also add up my numbers together. So if I have a negative 4 and a positive 2, I can add those two together and get negative 2. Or you can put plus negative 2. That's fine too. But this is all I can do. I cannot put anything else together, so I have to stop right there. And I think we even talked about why yesterday, because I gave you that example of going to Worlds of Fun and then paying so much per ride. Faith. Faith.
Oh, can you go over that again?
Okay, so things that are alike are going to go together. So this has an x, it matches this x, so I can add 3 plus negative 6, which is negative 3, and then I can put numbers together. So negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, and I put minus 2, but it's legal for me to also put plus negative 2 if I want. Okay, moving on to letter B. So again, I can make this anything I want. As long as they match, I can put them together. So this is a negative 7xy, and this is a negative 6xy. I can combine those two for a negative 13xy. And then I can also combine my numbers together. So I have a positive 8 and a negative 13. So that is going to give me a negative 5. And then that's all I can do, because those are different things. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine that with last night's distributive property, and we're going to put it all together. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, so putting it all together. And just write down A, and then I'll work it. You don't have to write down all three. We'll do them together. All right, so starting with this first one. The 3 is touching the parenthesis, so that's how I know I need to distribute it. So I'm going to start there, and I'm only going to distribute the 3 to the things inside of the parenthesis. It doesn't go to the 7 because it's on the outside. So we have 3 times 5 would be 15x minus 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 7. And then just like I showed you a second ago, things that are alike I can put together. So I can't do anything with the 15x. But I can have negative 3 plus 7, which would be a positive 4. And that's it. That's all I can do. Okay, eventually we'll be solving for the x, but we're not solving for x yet. All right, now here's the tricky part on B. Okay, what do you think I'm going to distribute on B? This is a trick question. Look at it carefully. Austin? Trick question. Is it? Is it 5 or negative 5? What do you guys think?
Negative 5.
Yes, see, that's a negative 5. So we're going to distribute negative 5. Okay? Here's what I suggest. This is why I like to change my sign, because I think sometimes it's hard to see it. So I like to change all my subtraction to plus and negative so that I remember, oh yeah, that was really negative. Okay? Notice I'm not distributing this 14x because it's not touching the parenthesis. I only distribute what touches. Okay? So I'm going to distribute negative 5 times 3, so that's negative 15, plus negative 5 times negative 2, which is a positive 10x. Then I'm going to go back and add on the 14x, like that. Okay? And now that I have that, I can go ahead and add the 14x and the 10x to give me 24x. And I can either write minus 15 or I can write plus a negative 15. Is that okay? Let me show you one more thing that kids last hour, because I know if they had the question, you're going to have the same question. So I'm going to do a little sidetrack. All right. So I'm going to just call this, I don't know, I'm going to call this letter D just because I can. Okay. Let me show you what if this happens. Does anyone know what I need to distribute there? This really threw them on the homework. Christian?
The negative sign is actually the negative.
Perfect answer. Okay, so I want to, this is again why I like to change my signs. You're actually distributing a negative here. So if there's just a subtraction, and like Christian said, you can change that if you feel more comfortable with that being a -1, that's fine too. Okay, so when I distribute that, I would have 14x. Then this would be now a -3 and a -2x. So all of them asked me about that last hour, so I thought maybe I'd just go ahead and show you one. Okay? All right, then let's look at letter C, because this really throws people, and I hate that the book does this, because they always want to put negative numbers in parentheses, and then when this comes up, I think it's really confusing. Because you guys have been looking at it like this, where they'll do like, I don't know, 3x, and then they'll put like minus -2, like that. That's what they've been doing. And you know that that means subtraction, right? Okay, but then they put it here, and kids will say, well, is that subtraction or multiplication? How can you tell? Austin? Exactly. These parentheses right here are touching, and when they touch, you know that that's multiplication. Here, they had to put an extra symbol in there. Okay, so that's what you got to look for. So if it's touching, you know that this is multiplication, and they mean that's a -2. So I'm going to distribute that -2 to the 4x. If you want, you can change this to plus a -1, and you got to distribute it to him too. Okay, so 4x times -2 is -8x. A -2 times a -1 is a +2 plus 15x. And now from here, I can go ahead and combine the 15x and the -8 so that I get a positive 7x plus 2. Questions on that before I show you how to apply it to something? This is the least amount of questions you guys have ever asked me. So either you get it or it's Friday and you don't care. This is easy? Okay? Alright. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about, then we'll be done. Alright, so make sure you guys write down this. We are going to be finding perimeter and area of a rectangle. Those would be the key words that you'd want written down. And then you'd want to draw yourself, you do not have to shade it in, but draw yourself a little rectangle and then label those two sides so that you have a good example for this. Alright, this one is going to have two answers, so I'm going to go ahead and write down perimeter. So I have a place to do my perimeter and area. That's two separate problems here. How do you find the perimeter of any shape? Cooper?
Add up all the sides.
Very good. So you're going to add all sides, which you don't have to write that if you don't want to, but I'm going to write it. And how do you find the area of rectangles? Aaliyah?
Multiply the sides.
Multiply the sides. So length times width or base times height, however you want to do that. Okay, so let me show you how this is related to what we just did. So if we have the perimeter, we have to add all the sides, right? And they haven't labeled all the sides. So if I label this a 4 and this a y plus 9, I've now labeled all 4 sides. Okay? Do you guys agree that I have 2 sides of y plus 9? Hopefully. Okay, so 2 sides of y plus 9, plus I have 2 sides of 4. And so now it looks just like what I was showing you a second ago. So now you would know to distribute. So 2 times y is 2y, which is exactly how many y's I have, plus 2 times 9 is 18, which would be 9 plus 9, and then 2 times 4 is 8. So all I have to do is add the 18 plus 8, and I get 2y plus 26. Okay. Now, I could have written the whole thing out. I could have written y plus 9 plus y plus 9 plus 4 plus 4, but to me this is a little bit simpler, so I don't have to write quite so much out. Okay, does anybody know how we would set up the area problem? What that would look like? It's like cricket, Max.
4 parentheses y plus 9.
Genius. All right, that's it, because we're taking length times width. And then now I need to distribute. So 4 times y is 4y, And 4 times 9 is 36. Bingo, bango. Got it. Okay?